Yeah, like
I
I
guess
think I said it before. I said it in my podcast once, maybe. No company, unless you're a freaking Steam indie dev, goes out to purposely make a bad game.
That's majorly true.
Yeah,
Majorly
Steam
true.
people definitely set out to make bad games.
Oh, you would know. You would know. I've seen your videos.
Yes.
so. I guess an idea of a game that presents a bad concept that didn't work would be something like, uh, okay, a long time ago, we looked at Batman and Robin. It's a long time ago, about a year ago. It's
The
not
PS1
super,
game?
super long ago. Yeah, the PS1 game.
Oh god.
Batman and Robin is excessive. It is there are things we didn't show in the video because we were like, okay, this video is already way too long. We can't keep just adding things to it. So here's just a couple things that we didn't put into the video because we don't know how many people actually played Batman and Robin. So one, you can go to the theater and see where Batman or Bruce Wayne's parents were killed. Um, they are like straight up. You can go to that area and you can see it. You can go to a subway station in Gotham and actually see this entire level that they designed that was not used for the final game. It's just still there. You can go to graveyards, and in the graveyards, there's the zombie gang is actually in the graveyards, and they'll pop out of the graves and they'll fight you and stuff. Um, there are so many hidden elements like advertisements. There's a camera, and if you take the camera that you find on the side of the streets, you can take pictures of these advertisements. And when you take pictures of the advertisements, you can go back to a bad computer, analyze the picture, and see high quality versions of those advertisements. They are totally useless. They have no function in the gameplay, but they are there. Batman will have his like bat wings, like the little things that he throws. Robin will have his own variation of those things with the correct name. So will Batgirl. Every single character has their own things that are unique to them, that are their own fit, their own style, their own thing. There is also, as far as I'm to understand, um, kind of like an experience system for the characters. The more you fight, the more experience you get. But it's not laid out in a way that makes sense, and it's all corrupted and confusing and strange. There are so many elements. There are things I'm so certain when I was playing that I was missing out because there was other things I didn't even like I couldn't find. As far as I'm aware, there is a pink donut you can find somewhere in the game. You might even have to like put in a code, but I don't know what the code is. The pink donut you throw at enemies and they get fatter and then they blow up because they're eating a pink donut. Like it's these weird tiny things that they implemented into the game, and there's just so much there. But to actually get through all that takes forever. And it's not exactly worth it at the end because what you end up with is an overly complex game. Like keep this in mind. You played this game for a couple days, right? And you die at some random mission. There's no there's no respawn. You die and you go all the way back to the beginning of the game. If you sit there and you don't do anything, you will lose because the people that were doing their crimes have already completed their crimes because the game uses a real clock. A clock that keeps ticking no matter what you do. If you screw up one mission and you don't get the clues on that mission, you can't solve the next clues to get to the next place. And those like all of those crimes that are happening are generated in a different way every time you play, so you need to get those clues to actually find the places you need to go. How insane is that? This is a Batman and Robin game. This is a game made off of a movie that likely kids were gonna play. I mean, maybe some did, but like I remember when this game was new, I did get a copy, I did try to play it, and I couldn't play it. I couldn't figure it out. And now that I'm older and I can look at it, I can look at it and just be like at awe. This is insane, all the detail and work that went into this. But at the same time, what the hell? So much effort and work went into it, but it didn't need anything. Effort can make a great game bad, or it can make a great game good. And this is one of those instances where the game ends up becoming so bad because it jumps way over itself. It could have just been a way simpler game and way more fun. There's very few games like that exist.
it makes you realize, going back as a kid, you said you bought the game. You put up you go back into a game you didn't find interesting or, as you said, unplayable, and you go back into it. It's playable, but you realize all this effort that was made, and you don't realize that until a much older. Just like how you watch a SpongeBob episode, you never get those jokes until coming back to it. And, oh, that's what they meant. It's quite interesting, if you ask me.
The only game I have in mind about that scenario where you replay him as an adult for me, is Metal Gear Solid. Because I originally hated Metal Gear Solid for a very stupid reason. It's because my brother kept renting it from Blockbuster and not letting me get Sparrow the Dragon.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. My mum was a manager at the time, and I could get free rentals, and I would only get one PS1 game at a time. Only one PS1 game at a time, and you only get Metal Gear Solid. So I hated it. I tried playing it, I kept failing, no idea what the hell I was doing, I hated it. It wouldn't be like maybe 5 years later, I played it with cheats. Not the best way to introduce yourself to it, but I played it with cheats, and I really enjoyed it. I know Infinite Ammo is always fun, especially in the prison section. And eventually I got round to playing the game as it should be played, understand the story. It's like, okay, I enjoy this. I want to play the sequel. Metal Gear Solid 3 is my favorite in the franchise so far.
Back to the Future on the NES was the game that when I was a kid I couldn't figure it out, and then when I got older, I figured it out. And then once you know how to play it, it's not something you really want to go back and play all the time, but it's a bad game that I actually enjoy playing.
Zoda's Revenge on the NES was that for me. When I was a kid, I couldn't get past the second level because my wee brain couldn't solve out puzzles, and actually the game's prequel, Star Tropics, was the same way. But now that I'm older, it's one of my favorite NES games. Zoda's Revenge is, because it's got a lot of comedy, it's got a lot of like interacting with figures, both real and fictional from history, and the combat is really solid when once you like know how to play it.
Oh, for sure.
I guess the game that I'm leaning towards and playing at the moment, it had a bit of controversy. I never played it before, but since I have a PlayStation 5, I decided to order 1886 back in and see what it's like. Never played it, but the controversy that it's had, 6 5-hour campaign, and I said, yeah, I'll give it a try. And what was I going to say? I decided to bring it back in and see what it's like, and it's not bad compared to the rest of the games that need, especially with how Sony is emphasizing AAA blockbuster games that need 60 hours of an RPG tree that you can expand upon with. Sometimes I just want to sit down and listen to a story or a
Funny
movie.
thing about the Order 1886, when I was writing my review of that, there came a point where I needed to recap a lot of the plot. And no matter what I did, like the script was boring myself. So I decided to present these characters being stupid as a game show called You're a Dumbass to make it more interesting to listen to. And it's become one of my viewers' favorite recurring bits.
I
haven't seen that one yet.
What's that video called? I might look up later.
I just call my stuff like the Order 1886 review. I really need to change my channel's name because my channel's name, Dark Lord Jado 1, is a remnant of when I was an angsty teen on DeviantArt. And
wait, it's pronounced Jado. I pronounce it as Hado.
No, it's Jado because I stole it from Beautiful Joe.
I've been calling you Dark Lord Hado the entire time, like the Hado from Street Fighter.
So that's why I'm still under 10,000 subscribers. People get my name wrong.
Oh, fuck you.
I haven't played the Beautiful Joe games, but there was a animated series for a hot minute that I liked, so I stole the name from that. Again, this was for a DeviantArt account when I was in my angsty teenage phase. I need to change the name to something I feel less stupid saying in public.
You're still in the angsty teenage phase. You're fine. Phase. Keep it.
I had.
It's not a phase, Mom.
I would have people whenever I go to a store or something, and somebody would know me for the show. They would think it was my last name, but they wouldn't say it the way it's like it's Rerez, but the way they would say it is Rerendez. So I'd be Shane Rerendez all of a sudden, and that happened like so often, and I was like, it's like the show. Would you go up to like I don't know Jerry Seinfeld, and well, that's not a good case because that actually is his last name. Of all the shows I could have picked, that was like the one I went to right away in my head. My
You
God,
go to John Krasinski and call him Jim.
Ross Friend.
are you Bruce Batman? You know, like, well, like he doesn't exist. He's not a real person. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm trying to figure out a name in my head where it doesn't actually like. There's an actor who is in the show, and like they named it. Oh, are you the Norm Macdonald show?
Drake and Josh.
Drake
and Josh. That's
Yeah. Oh, are you Drake and Josh? Yeah, are you Drake Josh? Like that, kind of like that. Of all the things I could have done, that was the stupidest
like
way to
Drake
do it.
Parker. What's his name? Drake Bell, but people would say, "Oh my God, it's Drake Parker! Can I have your autograph, Drake Parker?"
It's so strange because I think people like to look at YouTube more as like it's a personality driven thing rather than anybody producing content and shows and things like that, which is fine. You know, I think people look at it like a personality driven thing all the time, and I think that's fine because it's independent. It's people doing independent things. But when some people try to make a series, make a show, make an idea, even narrative driven, it almost feels like it's more than that. But people don't really treat it like that. I like. Do you guys treat Netflix and YouTube the same way in your head, or do you think they're like completely different platforms?
Different.
I'm not really a fan of
Netflix, but I
Netflix.
think Disney Plus is something different.
I've grown up with YouTube more than anything, so I know that personally what you said, like personality is one thing, but that's just a many of attributes that you need to stand out on the platform, at least from what I know. Don't get sucked into the generic top 10 list. Don't get, have an actual personality when you're presenting. Make yourself a bit different with the editing style, all that sort of stuff. That's what at least contributes to a different, YouTube.
So that's why I'm failing. Okay. I am as dull as they come. I'm a British man living in America, so I have nothing.
Well, hey,
That's not
sometimes that can be a plus. You never know.
Be the cultural bridge. That's the thing to do. Mention things and talk about things that other people in the area may not know about. For instance, I mean, obviously, Doctor Who is far more popular in North America now than it's ever been. But if you were to talk about Red Dwarf, if you were to talk about The Young Ones, if you were to talk about Bottom, like you can be the cultural vantage point for those things. You can talk about the BBC Acorn. You can talk about systems and the ZX Spectrum and things that exist in the UK that don't have the same kind of bandwidth over here in North America. And you can represent those things in a new, exciting way for an audience that has never been exposed to them.
Look at my name. What the hell do you think I'm talking about most of the time?
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's one of those things where I feel like there's knowing what the audience is, knowing how to connect that audience and discuss certain things can be different. Like when I started Re-Res, I wanted to talk about weird things I didn't think other people were talking about, but I didn't know enough about YouTube. I didn't know who was out there. I really hadn't watched anyone. The only channels I'd ever actually seen talking about video games were The Angry Video Game Nerd, Pat the NES Punk, and JonTron. That was it. And JonTron very close to the point when I started making videos. But I discovered this channel that was talking about some random games. Prior to that, I wasn't watching other shows about things like that. YouTube was the place I go to watch like trailers for games and stuff like that. I wasn't watching like created content by people. And when I was, it was typically things that were outside of the world of gaming. So when I started, it was just supposed to be like things I knew about because I read them in a magazine or I played those things and I didn't see anyone like make the same kind of content. So my surprise when I joined and everyone had made videos about everything already. Like it was just this incredible, gigantic world of thousands of creators from all over that had been making videos about all kinds of things. And the craziest thing was, if there was that one game that you liked, that one game you knew about, you didn't think anyone else knew about it, there was somebody out there that dedicated their entire channel and all 500 videos on their channel to that one game and every aspect of the game. Their mithril armor from one character in this one random RPG. Well, yeah, this person created an hour-long video about how that armor interacts with every other character in the game. That kind of stuff is what makes YouTube so amazing. Finding a way, and I think the trick with YouTube isn't just making randomized content. It's finding a way to make content. I hate saying content all the time. Making videos that you make once that are fun, but you can recreate that again and add on to that fun and make them and grow them. Like I didn't know what that was when I originally did the first worst ever video. It was not supposed to be a sequel or a prequel to another video or have any continuation. I made that video because I picked up the system with a friend and legitimately thought this is the worst thing I've ever played. Done. That's the video.
I think I actually saw it. That was one of the first videos I saw of you. Like, this is the worst games console ever.
It was a big one when it
Yeah,
came out.
I was just say Rez. I want to add a bit of thing. I saw your first video with I can't remember what it's called. It was like a Wii ripoff that was supposed to be not competing with the 360 PlayStation 3, and you had a calm tone towards the entire video, which I personally liked. But then you brought the worst ever 2, which was supposed to be a moving version of that console, where you said the entire thing should have been played in a goddamn stadium. And you had a bit of a change with your tone from calm to angry, and I think it's right. I like that as well, but I will never get that charm for calm collectedness while also describing how terrible the game is. I actually found that funny.
So the first Wireless 60 video, the one that kind of starts everything. Yeah, that okay. I went back and rewatched that video because in that video I am very, very calm. Let me assure you, I'm calm on camera. In real life, I'm angry. That was the 4th time I recorded the entire console. Each time I played it, it would send out an electric signal through the video cable, like the RCA cable or the VG, the video cable out.
Yeah,
it would send an electric shock
RG.
through it that would actually shock and break the video capture card I was using. So
what?
I fully recorded.
Wow.
These are the things I never included in the video because I honestly didn't think people would care. Time has changed. By the way, of all the videos I want to go back and redo, it's that one. But I don't want to be George Lucas, so it scares me.
Oh,
It's
trust
like
me, if there was one piece of advice I would give to YouTubers or new YouTubers, it would be don't do major topics right off the bat because you will always regret not once you're more developed, you will always regret your earlier stuff.
Oh yeah, I did not like. I never at all thought I would go like that was going to be a major video in any way. There may be a point when I revisit the system with other people so that they can experience it, so it's a new idea. But there were things in the video I never mentioned. So yeah, the video capture breaking several times and me having to replay the entire console all over again from scratch because I didn't just record a game and then stop recording. I would record every single game in one go because I didn't think about it. I didn't think any other way. If I'm going to play every console on the system, I'm going to sit there for the entire day playing every game on the system. So I did that. I had accidents while recording the video. I had accidents while recording the audio. If you go watch the Wireless 60 video and look over my head to the left or the right, you will see a power line hanging from the ceiling because I had to get the light to work. The only light I had, which was hilarious, was a gardening light that you use for like outside lighting while you're gardening at night for whatever reason. And I had like screwed to the ceiling. It was just a garbage thing. But I did that.
Wow.
The other part about the system that I never talked about in the video, and this is 100% true, this is not a word of a lie. When I got the system, it didn't work. Period.
What?
All of the
No
systems that were
believing that.
all of the systems that were sold at the store, as far as I'm to understand, they were sold at a liquidation store. I believe they were returns because they didn't work. I had to open up the controller and actually figure out what was wrong with it. So there was a piece of metal that connects the batteries together. you know how like the batteries are created like a little circuit, and once you close the circuit, you power the controller, and then it works. So what happened was there's a piece of metal that was disconnected from the top, not completing the circuit. So to get it to work, I actually took tin foil and kind of made a little knot and stuck it inside the controller, and that got the controller to work. But I never ever talked about that in the video because I didn't think it was that important. As stupid as that is, the fact that the system is so bad, when you get it, it will not work unless you open up and do tinfoil like surgery. It's just, I never thought about those things while making the video, and that's changed the way I've now when I do a video, I'm like, okay, that's the gold. Those are the juicy little bits people don't talk about that when you experience, you're going to learn. Like right now, I bought some N gauges, and I'm saying N gauges because you can't just buy one N gauge. So it's the same concept. Things are happening with that product, and when I'm going through it, I'm like building this like narrative in my head, just like the Stadia. When I was playing it, there was all these things that were going wrong, and I'm just cataloging all that stuff now. So I've got like folders on my computer or on my phone or whatever, but I'll be playing something and I'll notice something's wrong and I will jot something down. And maybe it's not a video for today, maybe it's a video from a year from now, but it's so I don't forget those things have happened, like pictures and video clips and stuff like that, so that eventually when I do get to making the video, I can take all those previous thoughts and compilate them or encompass them in a single video.
Well, it's about midnight here, and I have to go to work tomorrow, so I'm going to jump off this. But it was really great getting to chat with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think I'm gonna turn this off. I don't know how to turn it off, but it was nice talking to all you guys as well too.
The host has.
Yeah, we can figure out how this turns off. I don't. Oh, there it is. I see an end button. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining in. And I've never tried Spaces. I hope everybody liked this.
Nice.
Probably do it in the future, but when I do it in the future, I'll probably line up and announce it happening or something. I don't know. Is that how this works?
Oh no, I got a notification saying Jado over there was actually a part of it. So I thought, oh, let's see what this is about.
I got kicked off of it midway through and got stuck back as a listener for a long time, so I couldn't chime in on the YouTube swearing issue or the Balan Wonderworld issue. My personal preference is I try to limit myself to one F-bomb per video, but I'm telling myself that when I inevitably review the Snyder Cut, that restriction's going out the window.
That's a long movie.
Yes.
All right. Okay, guys. Well, have yourselves a great night. Thanks for joining in, and yeah, I'll see if I can do one of these again in the future.
Thanks, you too. This was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Later,
hopefully next time I'll probably Discord. Something's actually a bit more stable.
Oh yeah, well we have a Discord, discord.gg/rerez. You guys can join in, say hi, do whatever you like.
All right, I'll have a look at that.
Okay, all right. Later, everybody.
Okay, thank you.